Shalom, shalom, beloveds. How y'all doing? So, wanted to dive into this one. You know what I'm saying? Secrecy, Sorcery And Sin, right? So this is kind of like a follow-up from the message I did last night. You know what I'm talking about? I had spoke about in Isaiah and in Ezekiel. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, there are some things that I wanted to kind of dig into that tap into that. You know what I'm talking about? And so, with that, Slovakia, I wanted to show, right? Let me see here. I should have had it already ready. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's what. One moment. There we go. There we go. All right. Felt a little naked. I was like, what? Something missing. What's missing? It's the Bluetooth. Right. All right. So let me see here. Let me go into Isaiah. And I think that was, what was that again? Isaiah 14 and 12, right? I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I just want to read just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I did all that reading and stuff like that and details about that yesterday. So if anybody wants to be able to know what I was talking about, or just you'll see, right? So one thing that stood out was I was like, what the heck? You're saying something totally different. I'm in Jeremiah. Why y'all ain't tell me I was in Jeremiah? Alright, let's go here. 14 and 12, right? Was it 14 and 12? No, it was Ezekiel, my bad. Ezekiel 28 and 12. And I'm going to tell you what we're talking about, the merchandising of wickedness. You know what I'm saying? The secrecy of sorcery, right? The secrecy of sorcery and sin is what we're talking about, okay? So really quick, let me see here. So Ezekiel 28 and 16 says that by the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I cast thee as profane out of the mountain of Yah, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherubim of the midst of the stones of fire, from the midst of the stones of fire, right? Okay. So remember when I said, I was speaking about as far as bearing of the light and stuff like that, right? We talked about Masonic ties and everything, you know what I'm saying? And so in the midst of the fire, you know what I'm saying, those who carry the torch are considered, you know what I'm talking about, or enlightened, you know what I'm saying, because you carry the torch, you carry the light, right? All right. So hold on, let me see here. That's cool. I keep it. All right. So one thing I noticed is that, because y'all gonna be able to see a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show, this is gonna be a lot more showing stuff than just reading. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So one thing I noticed was within pagan holidays, right? So within the pagan holidays, they were talking about not pagan holidays, with paganism. My bad. Okay. So with paganism, you know what I'm saying? I was looking. Does paganism believe in sin, right? And so you're going to see how familiar this sounds, okay? Those who do not know that they're operating in sorcery or witchcraft or whatever, you know what I'm saying, they'll see it. So it says here that pagans review the world as a place of joy and life, right? Not sin and suffering. And so what it says is that we believe that the divine is here with us in the natural world, not in some faraway place in the sky. We hold a deep reverence for nature and the earth. Okay, so this is paganism. Okay, so whenever you see so many people that be like, well, I don't believe in something far off. I believe in, you know what I'm saying, they're operating in paganism. You know what I'm saying? Because it says clearly here, you know what I'm saying, what paganism's belief is that they believe in a place of joy in life, not sin and suffering. Okay, so these would be the same ones that be like, there's no such thing as hell. Hell is in the mind, heaven is in the mind, you know what I'm saying, but not expounding deeper onto it. You know what I'm talking about? And so this is tactics of a little bit of witchcraft, you know what I'm saying, but they don't know it. Okay, they believe in the divine is here. It says here they believe that the divine is here in the natural world. You know what I'm saying? The divine is here in the natural world. There's divinity within the natural world. You know what I'm saying? And it's not some faraway place in the sky. Okay? You gotta excuse me. My talking may seem kind of, because I got these Invisaligns in or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so it feels kind of weird. But let me see here. So with that, you know what I'm saying? How does one in Ezekiel 28:16, how is one merchandised, you know what I'm saying? How's the multitude, you know what I'm saying, of the merchandising, you know what I'm saying, of wickedness, right? Okay. So let me show you. Let me go here. All right. So pagans don't believe in anything outside of the natural realm, right? So the spiritual spectrum, you know what I'm saying, the spiritual realm is before the physical. Okay. So now let's take a look at it, right? Okay. So these are some of the fallen angels. Okay. Let me see here. First, let me read this. You know what I'm saying? Is this okay, there we go. So it says, according to the book of Enoch, one of the most commonly cited sources of fallen angels' names of the 13th, you know what I'm saying, fallen angels is often the 13th one, you know what I'm saying, is Bezalel, right? Also spelled, you know what I'm saying, Busazisgil, or Basazel, or whatever. I can't pronounce his name. You know what I'm saying? Especially with these Invisaligns in. So let's see here. It considered the 13th watcher, the leader among the 200 fallen angels. The 200, right? 200 fallen angels. Okay. Now, one thing I wanted to show y'all was this. Because things happen in the spiritual realm, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people chop up certain actions and stuff like that as it just is in not something of a spiritual attack. Okay? So that would signify that, you know what I'm saying, we see here that Lucifer was considered the leader of the fallen angels associated with pride, right? So associated with pride, you know what I'm saying? Let me see here. Mammon represents greed. Asmodeus with lust, right? Leviathan represents envy, right? Beelzebub with gluttony, you know what I'm saying? Satan and Lucifer is the same, right? Associated with wrath, you know what I'm saying? Pride and wrath. Let me see here. Belphegor represents sloth and laziness. So whenever people think that they're sloth or lazy, you know what I'm saying, it's a spiritual attack. It's a demonic attack. Envy is a demonic attack. Greed is definitely, you know what I'm saying, wickedness. You know what I'm saying? Lust is wickedness as we see these things, right? Okay. Now, let me see here. Ramiel, you know what I'm saying, was associated with thunder and lightning, right? And another watcher leader of the book of Enoch, you know what I'm saying, was Barakiel, right? And there's some Churiel associated with light and knowledge, right? So with light and knowledge would mean that this goes into certain practices of the Masonic order, Okay? And Divine Secrets and Mysteries, Azazel, or Arizel, right? Okay, so let me show you this real quick, because I got to get this part out the way, so that way we can go forward towards the rest of it. Okay, let me go here. So with the 200 fallen angels, because people don't believe that there were 200 fallen angels, or there were the chief angels, you know what I'm saying, the fallen angels, you know what I'm saying, because it clearly states that there was a third that was taken. I expressed yesterday that 1,000,000,000, you know what I'm saying, one third of 1,000,000,000 is 333333333.333 whatever, you know what I'm saying. And so 33 represents 33, you know what I'm saying. Symbology is 3 or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. And then you have 6, and then 9, which is an inverted 6, you know what I'm talking about, which they try to use. Okay, and so this is why they use those certain things in certain you know what I'm saying, mathematics, that they use as far as like symbology and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying. While you'll see the 3 6s, this symbol symbolizes 3, you know what I'm saying. For people who don't know why it's like that, you know what I'm saying, it is to be a inversion or perversion of the Trinity, you know what I'm saying. And so they will do it, you know what I'm saying, which is like a perversion of Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? Now, the thing that people don't get, which is deep, and I was going to wait to speak on this, is that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit represents the mind, the body, and the spirit, and the soul. You know what I'm saying? This is his way of signifying this. You know what I'm saying? He is in the midst of all of them, you know what I'm saying, because he is all of them. But he was trying to show, you know what I'm saying, through a spiritual dynamic that he is, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, Almighty, you know what I'm saying, which is in the mind or whatever, which is the mind. Not saying that the Most High don't exist, so that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that I'm trying to diffuse how they try to misuse, you know what I'm saying, scriptures and stuff like that, and make it seem like that, oh, well, no, it's just having a God mind or whatever, you know what I'm saying. And so therefore they're denouncing a connection with the source. And that's what they like to do, you know what I'm saying. But it's really symbolic. It's really symbolic of, you know what I'm saying, the head, which is, you know what I'm saying, the Almighty Yahweh, right? Elohim, okay? And then, you know what I'm saying, his Holy Spirit that is given, you know what I'm saying, which we have a spirit, you know what I'm talking about, which we are able to encompass the Holy Spirit. You see that? You know what I'm saying? The angels don't really have the Holy Spirit, you know what I'm saying? They have their own spirit, their celestial bodies. We are able to tap into a form of celestialness in the natural realm, you know what I'm saying, via the Holy Spirit, thus intuition and discernment, you know what I'm saying, and being able to call things out as they are, you know what I'm saying, speak them into existence and stuff like this, right? These are given to us, you know what I'm saying, through our spirit, but also whenever we are endowed with the Holy Spirit, then we have the abilities to be able to overcome and to speak certain things, you know what I'm saying, and to operate in the power and authority that the celestials have, you know what I'm talking about, in the natural body, okay? Then, you know what I'm saying, his word he brought his word to life, his living word, which was Jesus Christ, you know what I'm saying, Yahushua HaMashiach, you know what I'm saying, Yahweh HaMashiach. And so this was him, you know what I'm saying, having a body, encompassing a body, you know what I'm saying, in order for him to be able to give us salvation and redemption, because we were not able to fulfill the laws, you know what I'm saying, because sin was so heavy, right? Okay. Now, with that being, you know what I'm saying, just a little sidebar piece that I spoke on, you know what I'm talking about, let's go back into this, what I was talking about as far as showing that, you know what I'm saying, the fallen angels or whatever, the 200, you know what I'm saying, fallen angels or whatever, right? So, people have not heard, I don't know if you've heard of a place called, I think it's Astana is what it's called, Astana, you know what I'm saying, it's in, uh, Kyrgyzstan or whatever. Let me look it up for y'all. Let me show y'all. Okay. Okay. So let me go here. All right. Had to make sure it wasn't, you know what I'm saying, doing nothing weird. All right, so look. Boom. So Astana, you know what I'm saying, when you look at the name, the letters, you know what I'm saying, these switched around is Satan, right? Now, this is considered a place of peace and reconciliation, okay? Now, in this place, there are 200 seats, you know what I'm saying? Place of peace and reconciliation, right? Is Astana is the capital of Kazakhstan, right? Now, it serves since 2019 that serves a non-denominational national spiritual center and event venue designed by architectural practice, fostering painters or whatever, develop a partnership with outdoor properties. The place is surrounded by modern stained glass apex of architectural artistry, right? It's constructed to house the Triennial Congress of Leadership of World Tradition Religions, World and Tradition Religions, right? Okay. Now, let me show you something. Now, in the top of this pyramid, right, there are 200 seats. See this? Pyramid with 200 seats in Kazakhstan, right? There are 200 seats in the top of this pyramid, right? Pyramid contains accommodations for different religions, including Judaism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, and other faiths. Okay? Now, for those who don't believe and see what it really is, right? My nose kind of trying to run. Let me show you this. Let me go here.
Pondering the origins of giant craters. It's common to attribute these vast voids to asteroids, but
Let me go here.
Pondering the origins of giant craters. Pondering the...
All right. So we know that there's been 200 giant craters that have, you know what I'm saying, that have been discovered on the Earth, right?
Origins of giant craters. It's common to attribute these vast voids to asteroids, but hold that thought. There are around 200 craters scattered across the globe. Intriguingly, this mirrors the count of fallen angels, said to have been dispatched from the heavens. Now buckle up for the twist. Nestled in Kazakhstan, a pyramid stands tall. At the top, 200 aligned seats. The location, a city named Astana. Rearrange the letters and Astana eerily spells out Satan. So is this mere coincidence or a cosmic riddle waiting to be solved? As we navigate this vast universe, the unknown often beckons us. So keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, not everything is as it seems. Pondering the origin.
Okay. Now, we see that there is ties to many different religions inside of this place. You know what I'm saying? Why would that be? I'm glad you asked. Let me show you. Let's see here. is because, let me see here. I didn't take the picture of it. Dang it. My bad. I didn't have the picture of it. But what I will say is this, right? And I got some pictures to back this up. Let me blow my nose right quick. My nose kind of running. Give me one moment. There we go. All right. So, I don't have the picture that I need for this, but I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to bring these out, right? All right. So, first and foremost, before we even, let me show you this. Because then it'll start to make sense. I'm going to have to like walk out from the middle, then to the beginning to the end. So, just, you know what I'm saying? All right. So, we know that demonic practices, I told y'all in a video before that letters have degrees, that you can have many different degrees with letters. You know what I'm saying? You can invert them, change them, or whatever, and they'll end up changing into symbols, signs, or letters. You know what I'm saying? Or numbers, right? So where that practice came from is the fallen angels. Okay, so there's a thing right here. Let me show y'all. There's a list of several demons and their sigils and the summonings, right? So these things are sigils, you know what I'm saying, signs that are put together that we see in a lot of modern day things, you know what I'm saying, but some people don't really see it. But I'm gonna show y'all, right? So we keep in mind, we see this eye right here, we see this, you know what I'm saying, we see this sigil or whatever, you know what I'm saying. We also see this, you know what I'm saying, and this. So we see a lot of these, right? Now, these are basically, you know what I'm saying, certain attributes of wickedness, which we see here, you know what I'm saying. The abyss is the Lord of Chaos, you know what I'm saying, what this is signifying, you know what I'm saying. What's this? I think this is the ego, right? The hunter demon or whatever. This is a sign of the hunter demon, you know what I'm saying. These are, so aside of that, these, you know what I'm saying, are demons that have practices, you know what I'm saying, invocations that are invoked. Okay, so how is one invoking these demons, these spirits, and these entities, right? Let me show you this. Okay, it's in order. I got it a little bit in order. Bet. I thought I had to kind of, you know what I'm saying. All right, bet. So these signs and symbols, you know what I'm saying, how are they able to be invoked, right? How are we invoking these? So one thing that you notice is, you know what I'm saying, that the female and the male, you know what I'm saying, these symbols, these symbolize female and male, right? So these things go into something that exists. These speak about something that exists, just like a masculine and a feminine, you know what I'm saying? Which I'm masculine, you know what I'm saying? There are females that watch that are feminine, there are males that watch that are masculine, right? We're male and female, you know what I'm saying, as we were created, okay? Now, Salaki, whenever they end up trying to change things around, you know what I'm saying, we see that it goes into stuff like this, right? By gender and stuff like that, and drop androgyne or whatever, you know what I'm saying, demi boy and all this, you know what I'm saying, intergender and all these extra things, right? You see your third gender, all this type of stuff, what they're trying to do, right? And so these are symbols, you know what I'm saying, that they are trying to use. The reason why they're trying to bring out a lot of these trans symbols and stuff like that is because trans means through, you know what I'm saying, something through or something to change, you know what I'm saying, right? So let me give you the definition. Let me show you. Let's see. It's doing because it's doing transgender. It's going into transgender. It's talking about denoting and relating to a person whose gender identity does not correspond with the sex. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the real. That's not the real definition, right? Let me see. Here we go. Bet. So look. So we see here trans, across or beyond, through, right? You know what I'm saying? We know referring to people or whatever, right? So something that is basically coming through something or across and beyond. What could be coming across or beyond? It could be a veil, you know what I'm saying? A law, regulation, or statute, you know what I'm talking about? And so we see this right here, right? Transaction, something to come through, right? Transfer, you know what I'm saying? Transfer, transformer, transit, you know what I'm saying? Something to come through or across, right? So we see that translation, you see that we have all these things, you know what I'm saying, that signifies trans. So we know that trans, you know what I'm saying, has a connotation that means something to be through or across, right? And so whenever we see that they have these many different transgenders, or you know what I'm saying, symbol of trans, right, for something to be able to come through, for it to be able to be invoked, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna keep showing y'all, but look, you're gonna start to see it. All right, so we're starting from here, right? We see these sigils and stuff like this, right? Especially this one, but don't worry, we'll come back to these. We see through here, right? All different type of, these mean different things, right? All these different meanings and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, what they end up doing. We also know that significations of Wiccan, you know what I'm saying, witchcraft, sorcery and stuff like that. Also zodiac, you know what I'm saying, which they try to talk about Saturn and Mercury, and you know what I'm saying, Jupiter and all this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying, Neptune, Mercury, you know what I'm saying, which looks like a devil head with a cross, inverted cross or whatever, Venus and all this type of stuff, right? So now we see here, you know what I'm saying, the natal chart symbols, right? That the sun and the moon, you know what I'm saying, ascending Mercury and all this, Saturn and Jupiter and all this type of stuff, Mars, Venus, Uranus, you know what I'm saying, all these different things, right? Now, one thing about it is that if we know that the firmament exists, we know that there hasn't been real proof, accurate proof of looking at other planets, because we can't see past the firmament. If we could see past the firmament, then we will be able to see, you know what I'm saying, the throne of the Most High, right? As it already you know what I'm saying, speaks about the throne of the Most High, you know what I'm saying, above, you know what I'm saying, the world, which is in the third heaven or whatever, right? And so whenever we understand this, then we know that if the stars are inside of the firmament, because I did the solar luminary video, which shows that, you know what I'm saying, the stars are inside the firmament, right? Everything is inside of the dome. The sun and the moon, we know it's inside the dome. You know what I'm saying? It's been proven. There's too many videos out here that show that the sun and moon is inside the dome, right? And so if there is no existence of a real, you know what I'm saying, Pluto, Saturn, and Mercury and stuff like this and all this, then what are those things signifying? This is signifying that there are godheads, you know what I'm saying, that they try to use as planets, you know what I'm saying, in order for people to be able to believe in these things, you know what I'm saying, to give these things power, right? So whenever people believe in a thing, they end up giving it power. They're empowered. It is empowered through that. You know what I'm saying? This is another reason why they try to show so many videos of, you know what I'm saying, horror movies and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So you can come into agreement with that and then have a belief in it. You know what I'm talking about? There's a movie I've seen in the past, which was, I think it was called The Skeleton Key, a long time ago. And the Skeleton Key was talking about basically that there was a person in the movie that was saying that it doesn't affect me because I don't believe it. So if I don't believe it, then it don't affect me, right? And it didn't affect that person until the person started to believe in it. Then it started to have effects on the person. So this was showing, you know what I'm saying, that things can come into existence, you know what I'm saying, through your belief in being able to empower these things, right? Okay. So one thing that I also want to show really quick is because we, like I said before in a video, that we are consistent of 60 to 70, 70 to 75%, you know what I'm saying, if not 80% water inside of our, you know what I'm saying, body, you know what I'm saying. And so this takes a toll on a lot of our cellular molecular structure, right? And so this takes a toll upon our genetic makeup, you know what I'm saying? And so because people don't believe that water, you know what I'm saying, holds memory or has any type of, you know what I'm saying, strong facets to it, right? Then I want to show y'all this. Let me see, is this all the way up? So I want to show y'all this.
I'd like to introduce you.
Okay. And listen and watch, right?
To the idea of water as an intelligent designer. Here I exposed water to my friend's photo, removed and froze using a special method, and it designed her face. I showed the ice result to the water, and it designed a negative of her face. I briefly placed my thumb in the water and then froze it, and water designed a thumb with a chip in the nail. I chipped my nail in exactly the same place 3 hours later. Here I used a conceptual word of ego. It's a word I have no visual for, which removes any mental projection, and water designed a person with big shoulders, a small face, and a giant balloon head. I used the word milk as an influence, and water designed a breast. I wasn't thinking of human milk, so this was a surprise. You notice that the ice designs are not photocopies of the influence, but more of an interpretation, and to me, this is clear display of some kind of awareness. I honestly don't think we know what water really is yet.
Pudding.
I'd like to introduce you to the idea of...
Okay. So when you see that, and you see that water has intelligence, it holds intelligence, right? This also means that because you have water inside your body and you have a spirit, you know what I'm saying, which pushes the energy, you know what I'm saying, into the things that we speak, which gives life into those things that we speak, right? And also water has its own intelligence, so we are full of many different components, you know what I'm saying. The Most High is a very, very creative artist, right? So this is what the demons know. This is what fallen angels and wicked, you know what I'm saying, spirits and entities and stuff like that know. So that's why they try to utilize us to be able to come into agreement with certain things, to be able to invoke certain things, you know what I'm saying, into existence, right? So what is this pertaining to? I'm going to keep showing you, but remember I have to bring it back to this little verse, right, that it says in Ezekiel 28, you know what I'm saying, 16, by the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of these with violence. Okay, so we're trying to explain this. I'm just trying to show y'all certain things so y'all can be able to see it, you know what I'm saying, face value, right? All right, so now let me go back here, and as we're talking about sigils, like I said, you're gonna start seeing, they're gonna start making sense, you know what I'm saying. All right, so sigils and, you know what I'm saying, these signs and symbols and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, were given via the fallen angels, you know what I'm talking about. Thus, whenever you talk about the zodiac, what I was talking about the zodiac, right, what they gave us the zodiac and stuff like that, the study of the stars and all this type of stuff, right, which is Gnosticism knowledge, you know what I'm saying, which they use, you know what I'm talking about, in, let me see here, they use those practices, you know what I'm saying, in with astrology. Dang, I forgot right now. But they're using a lot of different you know what I'm saying, religions and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying. So we know that in a zodiac and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying, the Aries, you know what I'm saying, the sign of the ram, this is Taurus, the bull. But we also know that Taurus, without the cross underneath it, is a symbology of Mercury, right? You see that? We know that Gemini is the twins, right? Cancer the crab, you know what I'm saying? Leo the lion. Now, the thing about Leo the lion is that even with this being Leo the lion, if this was to be, if this symbol had a circle right here, this would indicate, you know what I'm saying, a north node. You know what I'm talking about? You know, people talk about south nodes and north nodes and all this type of stuff, right? And so with these symbols, you know what I'm saying, let's go further into it. See, this is a south node. This is what a south node looks like. Then whenever we talk back on Leo, Leo would be a north node, right? Also flipped upside down, the north node would be the symbolism of Omega. You know what I'm saying? These are all signs of witchcraft and sorcery that people don't really know that we dabble into. Okay. And so I'm trying to show you and explain this, how they end up, you know what I'm saying, using these things. But let me keep going, right? Let's see here. These are runes. These are old Norse, right? Which is Odin. We know that they consider it the god of insight, right? But it says Ansus, right? The guys, dawn, breakthrough, whatever. You know what I'm saying? These are rune texts, you know what I'm saying? Jera, year. Now, because the enemy is crafty, he switches things around. These are witch symbols. I need you to pay attention to all these. These are all little witch symbols, you know what I'm saying? Now, this is starting to kind of make a little bit of sense to some, I'm pretty sure, because they're starting to see, oh, okay, wait a minute. So you see when it says that that place where I showed y'all, you know what I'm saying, Astana, you know what I'm saying, which is in Kazakhstan or whatever, that has 200 seats, and it says that those seats are is like the pillars of multiple different religions, right? And we see here, you know what I'm saying, that we clearly have, let me see here. Judaism, and let me see, here's the Ankh, you know what I'm saying, spiral goddess, the Ibra, yin and yang, you know what I'm saying, which is Taoism and all this type of stuff, right? Pentagram. They say this is a protection symbol, you know what I'm saying, represents spirit and the four elements of the air, fire, earth, and water is what they say it is, right? So this is another thing that you have to keep in mind, is that these things are very demonic, but they try to make it seem like that it's a positive manner in order for people to use them to invoke, right? And so in my studies, what I've been learning and seeing is that, well, okay, he like, don't just, some people might be confused. So just keep going. All right, so I'm gonna keep going. They call this alchemy and stuff like this, right? These have Masonic ties, a philosopher's stone, you know what I'm saying? Lead, sulfur, and all this type of stuff is what they say. The Leviathan cross is really what it is, the Leviathan cross, right? Tin, salt, and all these things, you know what I'm saying? You see these? Now, this is a cross right here. This is the cross of Lorraine, you know what I'm saying? Which we're going to show you. It's a lot of these things that you know what I'm saying, you're going to be able to see it. But also you see that some of these things correlate with these, right? You see? Y'all remember that symbol of Prince, right? This is what they say is the Star of David, right? This is a demonic sign as well. This is because the original the star, there's no like a real Star of David. This comes from Masonic order. You know what I'm talking about? Masonry and stuff like that. This is a symbol of chaos, you know what I'm saying, which Aleister Crowley, which he used this. Now I want y'all to see this, and even this, but this, right, is a runic Norse sigil, right, which is demonic. We see all these are demonic, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so now watch this. That symbol, let me find it. I have it. I almost bit my tongue. I have it somewhere else, right? Let me see. Right here. The Viking rune of death. That's that sigil. Okay. Now, one thing that is going to make sense to y'all is y'all remember Sonya Massey shooting? This is this right here. This is that same symbol that's right here on the police's arm. Remember Sonya Massey? You remember this symbol? That sigil? When she said in Jesus' name, he got mad, right? And then he ended up unaliving her, right? I know. Some people are like, oh, wait a minute. It's starting to kind of, right. These are all demonic symbols. We have people that study this and they be like, okay, well, this is what we are. We are gods and stuff like that. But they're dismissing that, you know what I'm saying, there is a true, you know what I'm saying, Elohim. There's a true God, a true Father, right? And so they give praise to Ra and all this type of stuff. And this goes into that paganism, you know what I'm saying? This right here, they say that, okay, well, they stole this from Egypt and all this extra stuff. Most definitely, we get it. But at the same time, there are certain practices that are not ordained, you know what I'm saying, by the Most High. So this is why people are invoking spirits. This is why they're dabbling into witchcraft. We just seen what this is. This is Aleister Crowley, you know what I'm saying. These are different sigils, you know what I'm saying, and symbols, right? So these are demonic as well, you know what I'm saying, the pinnacle and all this type of stuff. This is another reason why whenever people, I keep telling there's certain people that's like, well, no, because we're good witches and stuff like that. Witchcraft is not good. It's not, you can't say you're a good witch, you know what I'm saying, or be a witch for Christ and all this type of stuff. It don't work that way, beloved. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Thus, whenever you see tarot cards, they have a lot of these emblems on them. You know what I'm talking about? People who do tarot readings and stuff like that, they have a lot of these emblems on them. You know what I'm saying? These go into witch practices. You know what I'm talking about? This is going to step on some people's toes, but hey, I'm trying to help y'all. You know what I'm saying? Lead y'all to the victory, right? The wheel of the year, you know what I'm saying? Keep in mind that one. We see the witch is not, you know what I'm talking about, which is supposed to be kind of like almost like a cross, but not really. Right. But we're going to get into this and show y'all a lot of these things, you know what I'm saying? So let's keep going. Occult symbolism. That's a witch is not right there. You know what I'm talking about? These are the keys. You know what I'm talking about? These little keys and stuff like that. You see these occultism? So look, let's go back over here. Where is it at? That's the eye I was talking about. We're still going to see a lot of these. You know what I'm saying? There's still more pictures to come. Where is it at? Oh, that's right. It's further back. Okay, cool. All right. So let me see here. These keys, but it's also an X. You see that? Just the same thing as the skull and crossbones, which represents death. This is a meta symbol, you know what I'm saying, which also was on the bottom of the Leviathan cross, you know what I'm talking about, which also is a part of what is his name? It's like Ouroboros, Ouroboros, I think that's what it's called. Ouroboros, the snake. You know what I'm saying? This is the snake over the cross. You see that? Satanic. We see this right here is what they use in pharmacy. You know what I'm saying? When they use pharmacy, which we know pharma is a form of witchcraft, right? So look, let me show y'all. Let me give y'all the definition of pharma. There's many people who've seen it before. You know what I'm saying? All right. So pharma, the word pharma comes from the Greek word pharmakon, right? Which means drug, poison, spell. Pharmacy comes from the old French word of pharmacy, which means substance, such as food for the medicine as a laxative effect. That's how they cover it up. We see clearly that it says here, drug, poison, or spell. Spell. Why would it be spell, right? Origin of pharmaceutical industry are traced back to the Middle Ages when apothecaries would compound, dispense medicines from herbs, spices, and minerals. And the industry would today be take the shape of the second half of the 19th century, when science revolution, the industrial scientific revolution, and industrial revolution began to be combined for the benefit of human health. Right. So we know clearly that this is false because it says for the design of human health. But we know that you see these people. These are people that do not do anything that helps anything what we got going, especially this. You know what I'm saying? This is BS right here. This is bull crap. We also see this, the circle, you know what I'm saying, with the little little cross in it, which is the X, you know what I'm saying? You turn it sideways, it's the little X or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. And so we see this. This is symbols that they have. We see this right here, which is like a signification of a grail inside of here, right? So for those who don't believe it, let me show you. Go right back to where I was at. Boom. You see that? Then you see this, right? These are all satanic occult symbolisms, right? The little X or whatever. But look, you see? Ain't this what the thing, the bear or whatever? Then they did this type of stuff. You see these? Don't worry, it's gonna start making more sense. These are satanic writings. These are satanic writings. Okay? So we know that this symbol, you know what I'm saying, is the one for pedophilia. You know what I'm talking about? Basically, operation of Moloch. You know what I'm saying? Divination from young little boys or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Then there's one that is the girls. You know what I'm saying? Which we see. This is the boys and this is the girls, right? We see all these. You know what I'm saying? We've seen these in movies. There's in DC Comics or whatever. There's a dude named Brainiac who has this symbol. You know what I'm saying? Which is a sigil on his head, right? We see these. You see this? This is something for the South Node. You know what I'm talking about in astrology. You see these, right? These are all different satanic writings is what these are. For those who don't know, right? Now, you're seeing these. You also see this piece of what I just showed y'all, which is part of the Nordic runes that was on the circle, right? All these things go together, right? So now when you see these, then it starts to make a little bit more sense that these are broken off pieces of the origins, which are these. And what are these? Demon of War, Lord of Power, the Quick One, Demon of Defeat, the Inquisitor, First Demon of War, the Destroyer. See, these are demons. Signifying thus the beautiful, right? These are all demons, right? We know that the 200, we know that if there are 200, you know what I'm saying, major angels, you know what I'm saying, that fell from the sky, that fell from heaven, right? But they took a third of the angels in heaven, which means that if it says that there's 1,000 million angels in heaven singing or whatever, then we ended up doing 1/3 from 1,000 million, right? And we got the number 3333333, right? So let me show y'all. Let me go here so y'all can see. All right. Boom. 1/3 of 100 million, but it can also be 1/3 of 1,000 million. It's going to be more threes. It's going to be the same thing. It's just more threes, right? So this is where they get 33 degrees masonry. You know what I'm saying? You see that? It's starting to kind of make sense, right? All right. So let's get back to this. All right. So now this is demonic lies. It says here that the pentacle, you know what I'm saying? They use this in tarot and stuff like that where they talk about the pentacles and all this, you know what I'm saying? But one thing that what they're mistaken about is they think it's a good symbol because it says it's a 5-pointed upright star within a circle. It symbolizes the magic and good, which is a lie. The pentacle is the representative of intellect and reason. It also represents the feminine element, earth, and is equated in the ability to bring spirit to earth. That makes us whole, right? Oftentimes, the pentacles are used as talisman, inanimate objects laced with psychic powers, right? So when you see movies where they end up drawing this pentagram or this pinnacle, they draw a pentagram with the circle over it, you know what I'm saying, which makes it a pinnacle, you know what I'm saying? One thing that they're doing is they're trying to invoke spirits, to bring spirits into the natural, you know what I'm saying? It shares a piece of it here, which it says right here that the ability to bringing of a spirit to earth, right? So this is why they do that. Now, it's all around us. It's all these type of things that's around us, you know what I'm saying? And so whenever we see that, even I didn't, you know what I'm saying, I put the shirt on, I like the flowers on it, but the thing about it is it's one thing that goes into, you know what I'm saying, so I might have to not wear this shirt anymore. You know what I'm talking about? But so since we see it for what it is, you know what I'm talking about? Let me do this, I guess, so y'all can see, you know what I'm talking about? So since we see it for what it is, let me give y'all, you know what I'm saying, an example of what this is, right? So it says that, well, let me keep going first. It says that clearly that it says that it's of something good, which we know it's not. Now, there's a lot of symbologies that is around us daily that we don't see. This is how the enemy is crafty and able to merchandise, you know what I'm saying, sin, in that we follow along with it, you know what I'm saying, unknowingly. This is why we're able to curse ourselves not being aware, you know what I'm saying? And so, let me show y'all, right? So they say that's good. I did this one to show y'all that it's not, because these are, you know what I'm saying, satanic signs, you know what I'm talking about, right? So let me just cut to the chase. Let me cut to the chase for y'all really quickly. And then I'm going to go back here too. All right. Oh, yeah, that's good stuff. There we go. I was like, it's trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, we hate when this dude gets to talking the real stuff. All right. So, look. You remember this? The Texaco sign? Right? Are actually pre-existing, powerfully charged, ancient pagan Masonic symbols. Masonic symbols, right? So look, we see here some more Masonic symbols. You remember seeing this symbol, right? That little A I was telling y'all to focus on. We see the G, this key thing, you know what I'm saying? We see the key. We see the M for Mason. We see that Patron is the double head, is the two-headed bird or whatever, which is the 32nd degree from I think that's the what is that? The Scottish Rites. It's a sigil for the Scottish Rites or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Checkers. Is that the checkers, you know what I'm talking about? Which is the Masonic Lodge, the floor of the Masonic Lodge, the black and white IBM, the I, you know what I'm saying, B and M, right? I and then the masonry, you know what I'm saying? These are certain symbols, you know what I'm saying? So look, let me go back. Let me go back. Let me see, what was that A at? Right here. The A. The disordered. This is what this A is. You're starting to see it now. It's like, oh, okay. Just give them some time and it'll make sense. Right? They call this the God eye. Dagon. Right? Which they end up putting in as the Eye of Horus or whatever. And they end up making it into this. Let me see here. That's one of them, the all-seeing eye. That's another reason why they have this signified. You see in the Eye of Ra, right? This little piece on the back. These little pieces on the back, right? The Eye of Ra. Let's go back. And notice this is both ways on this sigil. The little piece on the back right there. Right? Right. All right, so now let me go back into some other things to show y'all. Let me go back here. So with that pentagram, okay? Let me show y'all this. You see that? The circle with the pentagram. Now, for those who don't know what this is the Order of the Eastern Star, which goes into Masonic, you know what I'm saying? Masonry, okay? You see this? And they said that it operates within the, talks about the 4 elements or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or the 5 elements is what it speaks about. That's another reason why they have the movie, The Fifth Element, you know what I'm saying? Which is a Masonic symbology, you know what I'm saying? The Eastern Star, right? So for those that don't believe that these type of Masonic orders are used globally, you know what I'm saying, by elitists who have some type of form of satanic, you know what I'm saying, ties, right? We see this pillar with the book, okay? Now I shared a picture. I don't think I have it. I do have it. Hold on. That book would be signification of, you know what I'm saying, the Bible, but it's not really the Bible. Let me go here. Give me one moment. I got to go through all these pictures to get to the one I was looking for. Let me see. Where did I have that book at? It's the Masonic Bible. I had shared it before. I got so much information here. I need to have like a folder for these. Let's see, where is it at? Where is it at? Doing all this scrolling, trying to find it. If I'm not able to find it here, then I'll post it. I'll post a lot of these, you know what I'm saying, because we had this study today. So I'll post a lot of these pictures that align with the study. Okay, so it's not in this phone. It's in this one, the one that I'm talking to y'all on, right? So my apologies. But don't worry, I'm going to post all these, you know what I'm saying, so y'all can be able to see them. Because there are certain people that try to operate in sorcery and witchcraft, you know what I'm saying, I might kind of blot out or make some of the names kind of, you know, because I don't want anybody trying to invoke any kind of, you know what I'm saying, spirits and stuff like that that don't need to be, that they don't need to, you know what I'm saying. But let me see here. Show y'all this really quick too. We know that the Jews, Ashkenazi and Grecian, you know what I'm saying, Khazarian, kind of have ties into, right? Had to kind of put that one in there because I'll post these pictures again because we know this. This is how it is connecting, you know what I'm saying, as far as when we talk about, you see right here, the Masonic symbol, how it's connecting whenever we're talking about Astana, right, which is in Kazakhstan, which is talking about the meshing, you know what I'm saying, of all different religions, you know what I'm saying, right? All right. We also see this, the G, the one eye. Okay. So now let me go back up to the original where I was at. Where we at? Bam. All right. So that's the pentacle, right? Now we see that the ritual, we see here clearly it says ritual. A ritual. The Order of the Eastern Stars, rituals and ceremonies. A ritual and a ceremony, right? So we know that they're under oath. They do things under oath, you know what I'm saying? Same thing like the other counterparts, the Scottish rites and then the York rites, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, operating within the Prince Hall and stuff like this, right? Okay, so initiation is what you do in witchcraft to initiate one being or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Also in sorcery, it's called an initiate. So when we look at, you know what I'm saying, masonry, you know what I'm talking about, in right here with clearly with the Eastern Stars, it's a ritual, you know what I'm saying? And so initiation ceremony involves a dramatic presentation of the degrees, with the exception of the Martha degree, right? Installation is a ceremony as part of the rituals and ceremonies of the order. The funeral ceremony, right, which signifies the death, which also is a part of the skull and crossbones, because this is a sister incorporation of, you know what I'm saying, the Masonic lodge, right? Just like the skull and crossbones, you know what I'm saying, which is for the elites, okay, unbeknownst to people. So let's see here. The funeral ceremony is part of the rituals and ceremonies of the order, right? The greeting of the new member, you know what I'm saying. The worthy matron says that sisters and brothers, new members should face east to west and north to south, crossing their arms over their breasts to bow slightly, right? Okay, so east to west, north to south, right, would be the same thing as this. Where is it at? East to west, north to south, right? You see that? Right. Now, aside from going back there, we got to go here. We see the pentagram. We also see this symbol, right? And you see the moon, which is a half circle with the cross on the bottom, right? Then you start to see these here, which are some of the sigils. Y'all remember this sigil? Let's show you. That right there, right? You see that? Let's go back. Oh, wait a minute. Went too far. Right there. Right? All right. So now I want to show y'all this. The pinnacle, Mesopotamia, then the Rose Cross, right? The Rosicrucians. So there are going to be people that be like, oh, well, see, you see they have Hebrew, you know what I'm saying, letters and stuff like this. So that means that, you know what I'm saying, Hebrew is, people study, you know what I'm saying, the Hebrew or whatever is demonic or whatever. No, that's not what that means. Okay. So before we go a little further, let me go to my notes, right, and explain this to y'all so y'all can understand. So we know clearly that the founders, Adam Weishaupt was one founder of the Freemasons. Okay, Adam Weishaupt was a founder of the Freemasons. We know that Jacob Frank was he created the philosophy for the New World Order. So with Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Freemasons, and Jacob Frank, which is the created the philosophy, he got with Adam Weishaupt, because he's one of the ones who created the philosophy for the New World Order along with Adam Weishaupt, right? And got together also with Armitage Rothschild, which formed the Trinity. You know what I'm saying? For the destruction and the replacement of the Jewish ethics with satanic religion based on the opposite spectrum of Judaic teachings. Okay, so we see that because they utilized the symbology, you know what I'm saying, and they utilized the practices of Judaism, but they perverted them. You know what I'm saying? So as they perverted them, they reversed them. This also goes into the ones that's speaking about in Revelations 2:9, in Revelations 3:9, which talks about them that say that they are Jews, that they are not, you know what I'm saying, but they operate in the synagogue of Satan. Now, this also goes back into whenever we're talking about Ezekiel 28 and 16, which says that by the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence. Okay? So you're starting to kind of see how it's connecting, right? So before I go further into the symbology, you know what I'm saying, and sigils and stuff, let me continue to read from the notes, because I did this before, you know what I'm saying, but sometimes people don't continuously watch the previous videos, you know what I'm saying. Now, I won't keep doing this, but the Jews followed Jacob Frank. Who believed if we can't all be saints, let's all be sinners, right? That was his thing that he had presented, you know what I'm saying, into the masses. Okay. Let's see here. Let's mix sacred with the profane is what his belief was. Let's mix the sacred with the profane. Okay. And sodomy on children and orgies and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying? And so that's what he wanted to be able to induce. So this is why we have a lot of people that are the elites, as we see in these times, that are in the elites, you know what I'm saying, that practice a lot of these things, you know what I'm saying, of debauchery and, you know what I'm saying, deviancy and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, orgies and stuff like that, which we see that it's a big backlash for the Diddy parties and, you know what I'm saying, the Epstein list and all these type of things, because these are high ranking people, you know what I'm saying, but the ones that they have being persecuted in the media are just a small number of them. But they're like bankers and, you know what I'm saying, governors, senators, people in the Congress, you know what I'm saying, people who are in the Oval Office, you know what I'm saying, presidential candidates and stuff like that, who have been presidential candidates, some who are presidential candidates, you know what I'm saying, some who are in the House of Congress, you know what I'm saying, you have them in judicial systems and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying, some of them are officers of the law and all this type of stuff. You have their people that are agents, you know what I'm saying, within the CIA, the FBI, the DEA and all these type of stuff, you know what I'm saying. Then you have high ties to people who are of the royal family. Okay, so when you see this and you see what they're operating in, this is the way that it's speaking about, you know what I'm saying, in Ezekiel 28 and 16, where it says, by the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned, right? So because they came into agreement with something, and because they're trying to invoke the agreement within the people, right, via these things which I'm showing y'all, which have Masonic ties and you know what I'm saying, symbols and stuff like this that are in our daily lives that we see, but we don't take it as what it really is. You see that? Okay. So now, let me see here. Jacob Frank did the destruction and the replacement of Jewish ethics with satanic religion. Okay. So I'll read that again. Jacob Frank induced the destruction and replacement of Jewish ethics, of real Judaic ethics, okay, with satanic religion based on the opposite spectrum of Judaic teachings, okay. Then we see that Adam Weishaupt had overtook the Vatican with the Jesuits, okay, and they formed the Illuminati and put Jewish philosophies, right, of Sabbath Sevi into place. Okay, so then with us keeping this in mind, then we start to see and learn how everything starts to operate, where the manipulation, you know what I'm saying, started to be able to be broadcasted and evoked, right? So the philosophy of the end time is communism and belief that there is no God in dictatorship. That's the philosophy of the end time of these gentlemen, okay? So this also goes into paganism. Remember what I said with paganism, right? Is that they believe that the divine is in the natural with us. That there's nothing outside of, you know what I'm saying, Salakia, outside of the realm, right? Outside of the natural. So the reason why they did that is because they know that they are wretched, that they are damned. You know what I'm saying? They know that they are the seeds, you know what I'm saying, of Satan. Right now, when I say that they are the seeds of Satan, there are also people that are same skin tone, you know what I'm saying, that operate in these things, you know what I'm talking about, because there are people that be like, oh, well, it's just the white man and all this type of stuff. No, it's people that look just like us that operate as seeds of Satan, you know what I'm saying, which they don't have no kind of you know what I'm saying, compassion or, you know what I'm saying, patience, you know what I'm talking about, for their brothers and sisters. They just look at it like, okay, well, we don't care about them people. Hey, you go ahead and do whatever you want. So these are some of the celebrities that operate in witchcraft and stuff like this, and you know what I'm saying, that we see in the media, who are on certain lists and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying, who do certain things. They end up offering their children as sacrifices. Instead of offering them as a death sacrifice, they end up offering them as, you know what I'm saying, a tainted sacrifice via sexual connotations, you know what I'm saying, through sex magic and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying. So this is why you see like those people, the Will Smiths and all this type of stuff, that mess around and do all these things, that have changed they have traumatized their children, you know what I'm saying, and have their children going to a different way. But because they didn't want to sacrifice their lives, you know what I'm saying, they ended up sacrificing their livelihood. You see that? So it's a lot of these people that do that, you know what I'm saying, Dwayne Wade and all these people, you know what I'm saying. I'm not just going to name all these people, but I'm just using some examples of who we know, right? Okay. And so this is the thing, that they operate inside of that order. This is the Masonic order. The whole thing, like I said, is was brought to us, you know what I'm saying, by Adam Weishaupt, you know what I'm saying, which is one of the founders of Freemasonry. Okay. Also, they practice in teachings of Aleister Crowley and all these type of things, you know what I'm saying. Thus the skull and crossbones, you know what I'm saying, the 332 or whatever, 33 and 2, you know what I'm saying. Okay. Now let's see here. It's America is full of socialists. They want to kill the majority, you know what I'm saying. They want to kill a majority of the people, which is through chemtrails and poisoning of the foods and all this type of stuff, you know what I'm saying, through medicines and stuff like this, through, you know what I'm saying, jabs and all this, you know what I'm saying, and also through secularism, through music and stuff like this, to get people to be able to be implicated, you know what I'm saying, to be able to come into agreement with demonic practices and studies, you know what I'm saying, so therefore they can be like, okay, well, not knowing that they're allowing demons to come into them, you know what I'm saying, to operate with certain things in order to be able to push the narrative of the population decrease of 2045, you know what I'm saying. They want to have a population decrease by the year 2045, you know what I'm saying. So this is what their plan is. So aside from the people who they're now pushing in the beast system to operate for 2030, which is, you know what I'm saying, facial structures and facial recognition, you know what I'm saying, digital IDs, identification and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying, monitoring of the phone, you know what I'm talking about, implications of technological advances via kernel markets and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying. Also being able to do Neuralink and, you know what I'm saying, the mark of the beast and all these type of things to get people ready for a technological system which would bring in the beast. While they have, you know what I'm saying, these AI systems and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, they have also done Chat GPT and a lot of these things which show us, you know what I'm saying, that looks like CGI effects whenever they keep showing these videos of faked things, you know what I'm saying, to get us used to being able to see real demons in real time, right? Thus demon face and all this type of stuff, right? Okay, so one thing is that the Sabbatean Francis, you know what I'm saying, which is the crypto Jews, to covertly turn religion, you know what I'm saying, which is through Frank, you know what I'm saying, the Sabbatean Francis, right, which was Jacob Frank, you know what I'm saying, also with infused with the teaching of Sabbaty Sevi. Okay, now Francis had traded wives and daughters, you know what I'm saying, to convert and to keep fortune. So this is a practice of Masonic occultism as well, you know what I'm saying, to trade wives and daughters, you know what I'm saying, to convert. It's the same thing like what they be doing. These stars and celebrities be doing the same thing. Okay, so Rothschild financing, you know what I'm saying, both parties with France and Germany and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, which is the reason why they ended up having the new Israel that has been established over there, which is in 1948, you know what I'm saying, which we know what the original real Israel, Yashrael, you know what I'm saying, is over here, right? So many people that are saying that, oh, it's over there, no, you know what I'm saying, because one thing that they don't know and let me go through my other old notes that I did on the previous session, is that the land was given, you know what I'm saying, in Genesis 12:7. The Lord had said to Abraham that your offspring I will give thee the land, right? So Genesis 45:10, it says that they will dwell in the land of Goshen, right? So the land of Goshen is over here, what people don't know, you know what I'm saying? Now, let me see here. Genesis 47:27, the Israelites, you know what I'm saying, settled into the land of Egypt in Goshen, which is here, because there's times I've proven, so many people have proven that the indigenous native people over here, you know what I'm saying, this was original Egypt, you know what I'm saying, thus Tamari, you know what I'm saying, thus the reason why they found artifacts of the Keystone, you know what I'm saying, in Ohio, you know what I'm talking about, which backed up the Ten Commandments, which were written in Hebraic writing, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So, and gained possession of it, and we gained possession of it, and gained possession in it, and were fruitful and multiplied, right? Now, what backs this up is Acts 7:17, and the time drew near to fulfill his promise of Abraham, and the number of our people were greatly increased, right? So we know there's a depletion of our people, you know what I'm saying, whenever you look at the slaughter of the indigenous ancestors who we had, you know what I'm saying, our indigenous forefathers and mothers, you know what I'm saying, indigenous forefathers and mothers who were slaughtered on this land, right? So this took the number of us, you know what I'm saying, dark indigenous people down to a small number, you know what I'm saying, but yet we were fruitful and we multiplied, you know what I'm talking about. And that's another reason why they did that to us, is because they wanted to hide us from history. They wanted to try to blot our names out of, you know what I'm saying, the system, blot our names out of history, you know what I'm talking about, because we're a people that are great. We're a peculiar people, right? Now, because of this, and so many people know this, this is another reason why everybody has this ideology that, you know what I'm saying, just the white man is the bad one, you know what I'm saying, not knowing that within the Seneca, you know what I'm saying, and Iroquois, you know what I'm saying, tribes, the house of the five or whatever, you know what I'm saying, which they ended up doing with some of the Mohicans and Papuans and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying, up in the northern region of New York, because they had to go that region in order for them to be able to try to seize the land, because they got tired of fighting those ones that were in the southeastern, you know what I'm saying, region, which were the Taino Indians, you know what I'm saying, those same people that were considered Tamarians, right? Those ones who were the first natives that they met up with within Colombia and in Florida, you know what I'm saying, whenever they came through that way with Columbus, okay? So these people, they ended up warring with these people. These people wasn't going for it. You know what I'm saying? So they ended up like, okay, well, let's regroup. So they figured that, okay, well, if we go to the other side, up in the northern region, we can go ahead with those ones who are lighter, you know what I'm saying? And we can join forces with them. We can start a indigenous confederacy or a native confederacy, you know what I'm saying, which they ended up starting, right? So then they started taking the land that way. That's why they started pushing them down and then over. Why they started coming from the north and pushing them down and over towards the west, you know what I'm saying? Okay, the southwest and all this type of stuff. This is another reason why they had the Confederate War and all this type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so whenever they had a certain type of belief that, okay, well, the ones that are in the northern region or won't be considered slaves, you know what I'm saying, you'll just be able to have access to grand colonialism. You know what I'm saying? So you'll be able to have freedoms and stuff like this and rights over here, but you still have to operate in the system, you know what I'm saying, that we're setting in place. Okay? So that's just that in a little nutshell. Okay? So look, let's go back into the symbolisms. Right? This is why I need multiple, you know what I'm saying, videos to explain these things, because some things kind of go over people's head and some things be like, well, wait a minute. Oh, that's cool to me. Right? Okay. So now, we know that this goes into the Eastern Star and stuff like that, right? We also know it's the pentagram of, you know what I'm saying, wickedness, okay? And so we see here, this is a practice of Sabri Seti, you know what I'm saying, which ended up being like the Rosicrucians and Hermetic, you know what I'm saying, Sabri Seti, Jacob Frank, you know what I'm saying, which I was explaining earlier, right? So now we see this, right? The three different crosses. And then they have this little piece right here, which is Saturn, which symbolizes Saturn. But then they also have this. So you see here where it says the Lilith black moon sigil of Lilith, right? But it also says that Judaism, Mesopotamia, and Jewish mythology, Lilith astrology, right? Now, the reason why it says all this is what I was saying. Let me remind y'all, refresh y'all memory, was here. It's not that one. Hold on, give me a moment. Do it like this so y'all can see. Where are we at? It was over in this one. Let me go back. And then into this. Astana, the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation, which they try to promote it as that, but it's not, right? Which we know that is the National Center event designed by architectural practice of Foster and Partners, right? Which basically is, let me see here, the Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions, right? So the world religions. What are the world religions? Let me go back here. I forgot where it's at, but it basically is talks about Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism. You know what I'm saying? Islam, Taoism. You know what I'm saying? And there's another thing that it talks about as well. But all these little religions are the ones that, you know what I'm saying, right? So this is why. My bad. This is why it's mixing all these, you know what I'm saying, the Judaism, Mesopotamian, and Jewish or whatever, right? Because we already know who is the culprits behind this. Okay. Now we also see here this was a symbology of Mercury or whatever, so it's Mercury with the sun, and then also the runic, you know what I'm saying, crosses or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or runic pitchforks, you know what I'm talking about. And basically it's Monas hieroglyphica, right, which they try to say the works of John Dee, you know what I'm saying. Then we see the ancient Egypt and Persia Norse mythology, right, which is Ouroboros, which is the snake, you know what I'm saying, eating its tail, which signifies, you know what I'm saying, they try to signify it as a new world, you know what I'm talking about, is renewing or whatever, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so before we go further into that, hold on, I want to show y'all this little thing. Look at this little thing right quick. You see this, the Lilith? All right, now watch this. You gotta skip forward a little bit. Here we go. What is this? It's the same thing as the little thing, right? You see that? That's the same thing as a little thing. So this is demonic practices that they have inside of, you know what I'm saying, Masonic order. We see the two double swords, you know what I'm saying, which is the double oath or whatever, which signifies a cross, which the cross signifies death. The cross signifies death. So this is why you see a lot of you'll see a lot of pictures of celebrities that have, you know what I'm saying, the cross or whatever, or they have their arms crossed, you know what I'm saying, like it's death or whatever, right? Now, we see this is the world, and we see this is supposed to be space or whatever, you know what I'm saying, unless you see the stars and stuff. But one thing you notice inside of this is the Taurus, the Gemini, the Cancer, and then the Aries. So Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. You see that? Now, we know that in the Pisces going in towards Pisces, my bad, not Pisces, March going towards, you know what I'm saying, April is the new year. Okay, for those who do know, you know what I'm saying, is the new year. So this is why it's signifying the first of the year. You know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm talking about? So this is why it has Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer, right? Signifying astrology. You know what I'm saying? Now, one thing I didn't notice is, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 stars in that. I want to see what the real one looks like. But we also know that it's the world, the earth here, right? Okay. Now, before we go further into all these, we kind of gotta take it back a little bit. So let's take it back a little bit. All right. Oh yeah. I want to show y'all the keys too. So the keys, right? Where do we see the keys at? The keys should have been somewhere around here. You see these keys? That's the keys right there. The occult symbolism, right? The keys. Let's go back up here. And then let's get into it. Boom. The keys, right? These are all Masonic symbols. These are things that is right in front of our faces that we do not know. This is how they are merchandising, you know what I'm saying, the sin, and for people to come into agreements and know it, behold. So the reason I spoke about the water is that water holds intelligence and memories. As you've seen, that she wrote ego, and then water had formed a certain image of ego, of what it pertained, or what it, you know what I'm saying, perceived ego to be, to show that water has intelligence. So because our bodies have water and we hold a form of intelligence, this is another reason, Salakia, why we're able to get spiritual downloads, right? Why we have things that we resonate with, okay? So because we have things that we resonate with, these are things that that seem common, or that have some form of, you know what I'm saying, of recognition, you know what I'm saying, that, oh, okay, I recognize that, or I can see that actually being true, or whatever, you know what I'm saying. And so that has to do within the water, but also within the water that's in our body, you know what I'm saying. That's the living water, you know what I'm saying, the Most High, right, gave us living water, you know what I'm saying, which is his word, okay. And so that's the thing, is that we're able to speak life with it, but also within our spirit, you know what I'm saying, we empower that thing, you know what I'm saying, so we're a lot more powerful than what we think, okay. So I'm going to speak a little bit more on a lot of that in a different video, but let's get back to this, right? So we see these are also symbology, you know what I'm saying, which is Coca-Cola. The 666, the Walt Disney, the Mitsubishi, the two pyramids, up and down, right? The National Lottery, which is a 666. Heineken, 666, right? And the star, you see that? Walmart, you see that little thing right there? We just showed you this. The A. Then also this, you know what I'm saying? The Chase Audi. This is, you know what I'm saying? Then we see the symbol of the ram, right? Or the bull or whatever, which is inside of the sun. It's inside of it. So it's a 0 right there. But the bullhead is right there. 0, bullhead. Right, which is the beast. Monster. Then this is a form of that they have a Wiccan, right, in Wiccan practices. You see that? This right here. You see clearly Google Play. You see that? Cartoon Network. CERN 666. All these are things that are in our faces, right? Now, let me go. I want to go back to this 6 and 6 and 6 with this, you know what I'm saying, to show y'all what I was talking about. Within the Wiccan, where is that? Right here. The symbol of 3 realms of earth, sea, and sky represents earth, wind, sky, mind, body, and soul. What they try to say, right? Just like they try to say the pentagram is protection symbol that represents the spirit of the 4 elements: air, fire, earth, and water, right? Which is lion. You see how that's what I'm saying? They're very crafty, so they have people dabbling into things that they don't really know. You see that this is also a 666. You know what I'm saying? But this is also a sigil, a North sigil, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think I have the for that sigil. Let me see here. Should be in here. It's not. I thought it was right here on this one, but it's not. I'm gonna have to figure out what that one is. A little swastika thing right here. You know what I'm saying? You see these, right? That's the one for Bluetooth. Just missing that little piece, or take that piece off. Yeah, it's missing that little piece right there for Bluetooth. Then this one right here, they try to say it's for good luck. All these, they all originated from these. That's the 3 little fork right there, you know what I'm saying? The little stars and stuff like that, right? Now you're starting to see, like I said, it takes a while, but you start to see it. You're like, oh, okay. Right, now look. Let me keep going. All right, let's go back to this, right? So, the Ouroboros. Let me see. The Ouroboros. Oreo cookie. The Zodiac wheel. Satanic cross. Freemasonry. Now, I know y'all see this. Double cross of the Oreo. Ouroboros. But you don't see it yet. So let's go here. Ouroboros. Ouroboros, Leviathan cross, Satanic cross. And then the X, which represents death. Right? Now also, on the outside of the X's is the Knights of Templar. The Knights of Templar. Let me see here. I mean, not the Knights of Templar. Yeah, I think it is. Let me see if I can find that symbol. Here we go. This right here. The outside of it, right? Then the Holy Royal Ark, you know what I'm saying, of the Knights of Templar. The Order of the Silver Trowel. The Order of Priesthood. The first year at 1 year as Ram. Why is it 1 year Ram? You see that, right? As the Ram. Okay? The Red Cross of Constantine, which we know through the Vatican, which we know that Jacob Frank, you know what I'm saying, had ended up taking over. Okay? All right. Oh, my bad. So now let's go back. These are all different, you know what I'm saying? That's a 6, that's a 6, that's a 6. Intel inside. Spreva, Golden, Olive Garden, Audi, 666. Right. Adobe. And that's the thing, is that people start thinking that, oh, well, no, you making it up. And it's like, we can't make this up. This is real stuff, you see? That's the Obama symbol change, you know what I'm talking about, which is 3 6s in that. Toyota, Google, AIG, AIG. They're very crafty. Y'all seen this, the little "don't tread on me" symbol? 666. Now this is one that I found interesting as well. Is this right here? Is every barcode. On every barcode is these. These are the 666 as well. Right? Even with this, we seen that was one of the pedophilic satanic symbols, but also, you know what I'm saying, you see it here showing that it has satanic ties. So this is how people are coming into agreement with certain things, not knowing, you know what I'm saying, unbeknownst, right? But this is how the enemy works. Right? We already know this, which is the owl, which Drake represents, you know what I'm talking about. OVO, you know what I'm saying, all this type of stuff. We see that this is Masonic as well. This 6-point star that they try to do when they do the Hebrew Israelites, talking about the Star of David and all that type of stuff, they're operating in Satanism. That's the thing about it, what I'm trying to tell a lot of them. And they be like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, no, I know what I'm talking about. You see that? Even the Shriners. So this is how the enemy is amidst us, and people do not know, nor do they see the enemy, right? Y'all check out her book. Dr. Kathy Burns includes 728 illustrations. The Masonic and occult symbols illustrated. This is what we see. That's a lucky rabbit's foot. You know what I'm saying? All these things operate into, you know what I'm saying, Masonic and occultism. And so when they do that, this is another reason why people are like, well, I can't really trust, you know what I'm saying, that the Lord is real or whatever. The Lord is very much real. You know what I'm saying? The Most High, Yah, yes, is most definitely real. You know what I'm saying? But it's because if you have to do this type of stuff to denounce and have people lost from the connection, then this signifies that there is some things going on, you know what I'm saying, of perversion and inversion of, you know what I'm saying, demonic practices, inversion of, you know what I'm saying, righteous rituals, or not rituals, you know what I'm saying, righteous, you know what I'm saying, lifestyle. Because we live like it's a lifestyle whenever you are operating in righteous spirituality. But this goes into what I said yesterday when I said that that spirituality is a connection with, you know what I'm saying, us to the source. But because other people will be like, well, no, there's many different spiritual practices that you operate in. Yeah, but all these things that you operate in are things that are of satanic devices. You see that? And that's why I say what I say. You know, that's why I'm like, okay, I see that everybody has their journey and stuff like that, but there are certain things that, you know what I'm saying, people are dabbling into unbeknownst, right? So now let me go back into these. Let me see here. Let me go back into this. And then we got some more. We got a few more to show y'all. So we already tackled this. Showed y'all with this, right? Showed y'all the Ouroboros. We showed y'all this. You know what I'm saying? Seen this. You see these? Ouroboros. Then they mess around and have this little cross like the Ankh in there inside of the supposedly Star of David. You know what I'm saying? And then they have, look at this, just everything all together, which is crazy. This is pagan. And the Seal of Solomon, esoteric practices. These are like invocations. Because we see this right here is looking like Saturn. Then this is Earth, and then also the Destroyer. You see that? So it's like once you start to see it for what it is, then it's like, oh, wait a minute. Right? The Renaissance magic. Now you're starting to see what I'm saying with these. The Renaissance magic, right? That's why it goes. The Renaissance magic goes with these. Google Play and all that. You know what I'm saying? Then they got they call it the alchemy, right? So they call it alchemy, you know what I'm saying? But clearly it's a Masonic symbol. Let's go back to the Masonic order. Let me see here. Where was that one at? Where did I see it at? I might not have taken that picture. I have a picture with that same symbol that's in the Masonic order, though. It has ties into the Masonic order as well. I don't have that picture on this one. That's fine. That's fine. We'll go back. Let me see here. Alchemy, Satanism, right? Which we already spoke about this. Hermeticism. This is why they keep talking about the sun. Whenever they talk about it in the scriptures, they try to say that it's talking about the sun in the sky, not the actual sun. But this comes from Masonic practices that try to denounce, the faith, that try to denounce that he exists. Okay? Now look at this. The symbol of chaos. I showed y'all that. And it says here, who? Aleister Crowley in Chaos Magic. You see that? Aleister Crowley in Chaos Magic. Where is that symbol at? Let me see. Right there. Chaos undivided. Right? But then also, where is it at? Was it on here? It's not on here, but look at these. There it is. That's that thing I was looking for right there. But let me go back to show you this. Where was it at? So that's that one. And it goes right here. Right there. Right. Now, those other sigils I just showed y'all. Where is it at? The Red Cross of Constantine. Where I see them at? Oh, they're going to be in the demonic things. That's what that is. That's right. Yeah, so these ones that I just showed y'all, where was it at? These ones is going to astrology and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be seen. Hold on, my bad. They're going to be seen up in here. Let me finish out this little part. So, you see that? And they say this, right? Now, for those who see this and they're like, oh man, they're getting kind of scared, right? Judaism, Kodesh, and Kabbalah. Okay? So, this is a practice of Masonic order, which we are, that's why I explained the Jacob Frank and the Adam Weishaupt, you know what I'm saying? And Auschwitz Rothschild. That's why I explained that, to show you, you know what I'm saying, that they ended up inverting these. They perverted these. This is real Hebraic writing, you know what I'm saying? What they studied, they took it from it and they ended up manipulating it to put it into the practices to have people denounce from the faith so they can pretend to be the Jewish, but not really Judah or Yahudah. You see that? So this is why this is on here, to explain for those who are wondering. Because I don't want y'all to get fearful and like, oh, wait a minute. Well, no, that's not what that is. You know what I'm saying? I've done enough research to know what's really what and what's not. Okay? This is the Kabbalah. This is what they do. You see, they try to put Hebrew letters in there, writing inside of that. Right? And just like I wrote in the notes, you know what I'm saying, of my studies, the Sabri Sebi and Jacob Lefranc, you know what I'm saying, ended up changing it from righteous to wickedness. And so this is why they have those Ashkenazi and Khazarian, you know what I'm saying, and Grecian Jews and stuff like that, Zionist Jews and stuff like this, who are those that are in Revelation 3:9 and Revelation 2:9. Those that say that they're Jews, that they're not, because they practice in the synagogues of Satan. They really are the synagogues of Satan. This is showing that's what that is. Okay. Aleister Crowley's Thelma, right? Which we see. Hinduism, the Zodiac Man, which is astrology. These are all demonic practices that people come into agreement with. Okay. So now the Jewish Kabbalists originally developed their own transmission of secret text within the realm of Jewish tradition, and often use classical Jewish scriptures. They often use classical Jewish scriptures to explain and demonstrate its mythical teaching. These teachings are held by Kabbalists who define inner meaning of both Hebrew Bible and the traditional rabbinic lecture. So when we know about the rabbis of Jewish, you know what I'm saying, of the fake Israel, we know that there's a rabbi that owns Pornhub, right? So we know that, you know what I'm saying, this shows the perversion of what they are trying to do, right? So look, that leads me back into this note. Let me read back into this note where it says here that, where was it at? Where the Jews followed those Jews followed Jacob Frank, who believed if we cannot be saints, let's all be sinners, and let's mix sacred with the profane. Right here, let's mix the sacred with the profane. Right, sodomy and children orgies. Right. So that's why you have in the Vatican, or you have in the Roman Catholicism, they have those grown men, you know what I'm saying, who have statues or engravings, you know what I'm saying, on walls and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, that look like pedophilia, okay, PDF files, right? And so rabbinic literature in their formerly concealed transmitted dimension, as well as to explain the significance of Jewish religious observances, right? Historically, Kabbalah emerged from the early forms of Jewish mysticism in the 12th and 13th century. Spain and southern France was reinterpreted during the Jewish and mystical Renaissance. In the 16th century, the Ottoman Palestine, you know what I'm saying, and the Zohar, the foundations of the Kabbalah the foundational text of Kabbalah, was authorized in the late 13th century, like by Moses de Leon, Isaac Luria, right, in 16th century. It's considered the father of contemporary Kabbalah. Lurianic Kabbalah was also popularized in the form of Hasidic Judaism in the 18th century onwards. During the 20th century, academic interest in Kabbalah texts led primarily to the Jewish historian Gershom Sholem, I don't know why I can't say that, has inspired the development of historical research on Kabbalah in the field of Judaic studies. Okay. So really quick, I seen this. Spain and southern France, right? So what is that? What is this? Let me show you. You see this double cross, which we see here, which is also in the symbology that you've seen. The country's first ruling dynasty of the Arpads, Rene, grandfather Rene the Good, who used it as a personal sigil and laid claim to 4 kingdoms, including Hungary. The cross was still known as the Cross of Anjou in the 16th century. Rene II placed a symbol on his flag for the Battle of Nancy in January 1477. In the battle, Rene defeated the army of Charles the Bold, Duke of Burgundy, who had occupied the duchy of Lorraine. Right, the regained his duchy. All coins struck from Rene before the symbol thereafter. Okay, and we see here the Free French Forces Resistance flag and naval jack are symbols of Gaullism, right? Let me see here. Through innumerable glosses, Magnalia, commentaries, president's work, precedent works, satellite text, and other minor works contribute to an understanding of the Kabbalah as evolving tradition in the major texts in the main line of Jewish mysticism that inarguably fall under the heading Kabbalah, conforming to the sense of every definition and meeting of various diagnostic criteria of the different perspective are the Bahir, the Zohar, the Pradis, Rimonim, and Etz Chaim, the Insaf. The early Hekalat writings, I read that like it's Hebrew. The Hekalat writings are acknowledged as ancestral to the sensibilities of the later flowering the Kabbalah, right? So and more especially the Sefer Yetzirah is acknowledged as an antecedent from which all these books draw many of their formal inspirations, right? So what this is basically saying is that the Kabbalic practices, you know what I'm saying, are a mix that's proven to what I had just said in my notes, you know what I'm saying, is because they put all these things together in order for them to try to mix it up and make it to what it seems like, but they're just making it sound fancy. Now, whenever we go into studies and stuff like this, there'll be people that will talk about that if you research the Bible even further, then it goes into the Septuagint. You know what I'm saying? And the Septuagint predates whatever and all this type of stuff. It's lucky, but these people are not telling you that they are ran by, you know what I'm saying, Masonic occultists that is teaching those people to say this type of thing, you know what I'm saying, to denounce the origins, you know what I'm saying, of the Judaic lifestyle, the Yahudaic lifestyle, right? So this is another reason why there's a war on Israel, of the Israelites, the Yasharites, right? Which is us as a people, okay? And so this is why the 12 tribes are important, and the history and the lineage is important. But they have so much things that is divisive in all these tricks and lies, you know what I'm saying, that have been placed in the midst, you know what I'm saying, of truth, which has people being diverted into other directions, you know what I'm saying, and doing other practices, because if they know that if they come into agreement with, you know what I'm saying, having a for real intimate relationship with the Father and, you know what I'm saying, with the Lord, then they will know that we are a lot more powerful than what they're trying to do. This is why I say the devil rewards, you know what I'm saying, his workers of iniquity as well, right? So this is why I'm reading the scripture that talks about the multitude of the merchandising, you know what I'm saying. Let's see here. Can't read from that far. I need my glasses. By the multitude of merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Right? Okay. So we clearly know that in this scripture from 12 to 19, that he's talking to, you know what I'm saying, Hashatan. He's talking about the fallen angel, right? Because it says, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the kings of Tyre, and say to him, Thus saith the Lord God, the Lord Yahweh, the Lord Elohim, Jehovah, right? That thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Yah. Every precious stone was the covering, the sardis, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, and the sapphire, and the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold, the workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes were prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. So he's talking about, you know what I'm saying, Hashatan, the fallen angel, right? And thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. Basically, he was a watcher, you know what I'm saying, him and the other fallen angels, right? But he was the one that, okay. So and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of Yahweh, of Elohim, right? Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou was created till iniquity was found in thee. So this is showing that he's talking about, right? He's talking about the devil. He's talking about Lucifer, you know what I'm saying, Satan. And so this is why I'm speaking about this, because it's sorcery, secrecy, and sin, you know what I'm saying, that a lot of people are dabbling in and not knowing. Okay, so now since I've showed this and exposed this part, now I need to show y'all, you know what I'm saying, this thing, right? Because now I think y'all are like, okay, well, wait a minute. There's some people that's like, well, you said something about the sigils and stuff, and it doesn't make sense all the way. Now you're starting to see it. The demons' names and stuff like this, and the origins of their seals. So they all have seals. Okay, this is why they have those, and they're all within a circle, which we know that the circle is trying to be like an invocation of these things. And this is why they have all these different practices on witchcraft. Why, you know what I'm saying, you have to do certain rituals and stuff like that in order for you to basically invoke those spirits, and those spirits will be upon these people, and these people will not know that the spirits are upon them because they don't know what's really going on. So one thing, like I said, is the devil will do it in broad daylight to prove that he's real, and then people don't want to believe that the devil is real. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, oh, the devil ain't really real. The demons don't exist. But if they didn't exist, then why do they have these sigils and, you know what I'm saying, symbols and stuff like that, right? Okay. So now you're starting to see why I showed y'all originally in the beginning, you know what I'm saying, the symbols and the sigils. So before we even go here, let's go back here so y'all can see what we getting into. Well, that's not what we're getting into, but what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I rebuke that in the name of Jesus Christ. So look, these symbols, right? Now, let's go back. And you see why Masonry has these double crosses, and they have this little that nice little Templar, you know what I'm saying, little cross up here. You see these people just think these are like, oh well, no, no, these are real, you know what I'm saying, what they're trying to do. You see this, the three forks or whatever that had in the runic. So you see, these are over time that the enemy has done to use these things, you know what I'm saying, and man does not know why and what they're doing. That's another reason why the Most High talks about, speaks against tattooing, because some people don't know what they're doing. They tattoo certain things on their bodies and don't know what they're invoking, you know what I'm saying, and they're becoming in agreement with it with the flesh, right? And you have to think, because it's 200 angels, you know what I'm saying, that are like 200 fallen angels, then we know that if the other part that they had taken from heaven with them, as far as with the 1/3 of heaven, you know what I'm saying, then we see that it's a big business. There's a lot of demons that are amidst people that don't really understand all the way. So that's why I say a lot of things that people are chopping up as, you know what I'm saying, it's just something that, oh, it's just the way that, you know what I'm saying, that they are and stuff like that. Some things are demonic, you know what I'm saying. They're demonic attacks. This is why they have generational curses, familiar spirits and stuff like that, because they're demonic attacks. They have set themselves inside of people's families and inside the generations of people, you know what I'm saying, doing certain practices. How these demons get there is because certain people, you know what I'm saying, who were considered, I guess you can consider them, you know what I'm saying, those of lineage we come from, or those who were ancestors or whatever, you know what I'm saying, have did certain practices that allowed these entities in. So therefore, these entities became familiar with the family and stuff like that. And then that's why it's harder for those who are breaking generational curses, for the curse of the generational curse to be broken, because they're being fought against so hard, because these demons, you know what I'm saying, are like, well, I don't want to leave willingly, right? And you see Asheroth, you see all these, right? Right? So y'all seen them. That's why these make sense now, right? And so who was, let me see, let me show y'all this now. What did I do? Go back here. That's why I started the video off speaking about these. Associated with lust and envy, these people, Leviathan, you know what I'm saying, these wicked spirits and stuff, right? It's because they all have a part to play in this reality, you know what I'm saying? And so they try to have people come into agreement with a lot of things that, you know what I'm saying, people don't need to be coming to agreement with, right? All right, and let me show you a few more and then we can conclude this. Many people already know these. For those who don't know, you know what I'm saying. And so this is why I say that they have a lot of Masonic people that are pastors, you know what I'm saying, and imads, you know what I'm saying, that are in Islamic faith and, you know what I'm saying, the Christian faith and stuff like this, you know what I'm saying. People that are Buddhists, you know what I'm saying, head shaman and high priest and all these type of things, right? So we already went there. We went through these. And the Shriners. This is 33rd degree. And this is the Prince Hall Freemasonry, the 32nd degree. Right. They call them the Holy Royal Arcs. These type of things, you know what I'm saying? High priest and all these things. They try to make sure that they operating within hierarchy. The Daughters of Isis. This is in the Masonic order, the Daughters of Isis. And that's what people don't get. That's why that Ankh is there. But people don't really know all the way, right? You see the handshake? That's the little eye symbol. You see that? Egypt. All right. So we know the Scottish Rites. That's the Scottish Rites. Masonic Lodge. It's the York Rites. There ye shall find light. The light bearers, the light holders, the illuminated, the illuminants, Illuminati, right? The York Rites, Philip Craft, a Master Mason, a Mark Master, Past Master, Virtual, Most Excellent Master, Royal Arc, Royal Master, Select Master, Super Excellent Master, Order of the Red Cross, Order of Malta? Of Malta, and Knights of the King of Templar, Order of the Knights of the King, the Order of the Knights of Templar. Knights of Templar, the cryptic degree, the capitular degree, and the symbolic degree. So that's the lodges. The Knights of York. So we say New York, and we know that the dragon signifies New York. I got a picture. I have to repost that. And then the beast, the lion mouth with the bear body with the jaguar claws and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, will be the United Nations.